we're doing it. We're doing it today. I'm so scared, but I think that's the point. Today is day 51 of our trip, and we are currently in Krabi, Thailand. We're actually about to head to our very first Muay Thai class. I have never tried Muay Thai before. I have never tried any kind of fighting sport before, even in the last couple of years, because I've been lifting more and working out more. I'm a lot more comfortable in the weight room than I ever was even a few years ago. I really enjoy going to the gym. I like working out. I consider myself an athletic person. But even with all of these things, I'm actually super scared to go to this class. And I know basically nothing about Muay Thai. No matter what it is, when it's something completely new, especially when there's a physical and technical element involved, I'm just so intimidated. There's something about the fact that it's a fighting sport. I've never really done that before. It doesn't feel like a thing that girls do a lot. I know there are plenty of girls in fighting sports. I'm not saying that. But still, it feels like a very male-dominated sport in general. I haven't really even been to a athletic class in a really long time. And I've certainly haven't tried an athletic class in Thailand. I don't know what to expect at all. And I'm totally terrified that it's going to be really hard. I'm going to embarrass myself and that I'm just not going to have fun. I'm really worried about those things. I've been dragging my feet on booking this. We've been talking about it for weeks. It's basically the final days of us being in Krabi before I finally got up the courage to go. But we're doing it. We're doing it today. I'm so scared, but I think that's the point. The point of this trip was to experience new things and push myself. And this feels really necessary. I know from experience, even though I'm nervous, even though I've been dragging my feet on going to this, that I very rarely regret doing something like this and trying it, even when it doesn't go well. I'd like to take you along, tell you how it goes, going into a totally new sport, trying Muay Thai for the first time, and what taking a beginner class in Krabi is really like. All right, we're doing it. Let's go. I officially survived my first Muay Thai class. I'm very excited. I really want to just tell you what I thought about it. I came into this class with some concerns. I was worried that it was going to be super hard. I was worried that I was going to embarrass myself. And I was also really worried that I just wasn't going to have fun. And as far as the answers to those questions, as you can probably tell by my reaction, I had a lot of fun. It actually was great. But was it hard? Yes, it was super hard. I feel like no matter what I do, I'm always surprised by how bad my cardio is. In my head, I don't think it's so bad, but even 10 minutes of running and I was like, "Ooh, I don't know about this. I'm not into it." In some ways, things felt like they were cardio even though they sort of weren't. So you're punching the bag, or you're kneeing the bag or kicking the bag or whatever, and you had to do them kind of fast, and you're jumping around and jumping rope and doing other things pretty fast. So that was basically cardio, and I am bad at it. So that was hard for sure. And then in between some of the sessions, they would have you do sit-ups or push-ups, things like that. So you're already tired, and then you're doing this as well, jumping back and forth between as many crunches as you can do, and then having to try and kick properly right after that. Yeah, it was hard. And on top of that, it's super hot out. I feel like I've been saying that a lot in most of my videos, but we started the class at 9:30. And overall, it was somewhat overcast. It wasn't as hot as it could have been. The class was an hour and a half, and obviously it got hotter as it got closer to 11. It got pretty warm. We were sweating a lot. If I'm going to do an athletic activity in Thailand, I think I just have to assume I'm going to sweat more than I've ever sweat in my life. I think that's just how it's going to be. I feel very bad for the other people that have to experience this. It's mostly brand, but for anyone else as well. The last question is really like, did I embarrass myself? Well, that one's a little more complicated. Without a doubt, had horrible technique. Again, not surprising. I've never done any kind of sport that's remotely like this, so I don't have any background. And it showed. The instructor really had to like explain things over and over and over and show me certain things many times. And not everyone had to do it that many times. It was crazy how out of control my body I really felt. I felt so uncoordinated. I had such a hard time kind of managing any move properly. And then if they asked me to do multiple things in a row, like, like a punch and then a kick or like switching sides or anything, I was just completely thrown off. It was so hard. Even jumping rope was hard for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Jumping rope was hard. I don't know. I haven't jumped rope in who knows how long, maybe like 15 or 20 years. So I was even bad at jumping rope. The other part of the embarrassment question is really more about like, did I feel out of place? Did I feel like I shouldn't be there? Did I feel like I fit into the group that was working out? And that I definitely did. There were other women there. It wasn't like just guys only. And that's sometimes an environment that feels kind of intimidating at the gym or when you're working out. So the fact that there were other women there made me definitely feel like, okay, this is going to be the right environment, the right class for me. There are also plenty of people that this was their first class ever. So we were not the only people who had never tried this before. The other people had definitely had a little bit more experience, but it wasn't like they had had months of experience or something. They weren't way ahead of us. Everyone was able to get a good workout and train and learn, and it wasn't too lopsided, either gearing too much to us, the very beginners, or the people that were a little bit further along. So that also made me feel very comfortable. And I think the last bit of like, did I feel embarrassed about being there, is really like this internal question that I struggle with a lot. Is I want to feel competent when I'm doing physical activities, especially with other people. I want to feel like I'm supposed to be there. I want to feel like I'm doing a good job. I want to either like, send the route or successfully punch the punching bag. I don't know. I want to do it right. I want to do it well. And going into a class and having no idea what I'm doing and doing a terrible job could make me feel embarrassed for sure. But I've really been trying to work on just accepting the fact that it's okay to be a beginner. It's okay to not do your best every single session. It's okay to sometimes not know what you're doing, as long as you're doing things as safely as possible. I think a big thing that's helped me to feel less embarrassed when I'm not doing as well or keeping up with other people that I'm working out with has really been to focus on having fun and try like not to worry about how I look or how well I'm doing. I know I'm not doing well, and I knew that that was going to happen going in. So I can just try and like leave that aside and focus on trying to have fun, trying to push myself and trying to learn and not worry about how dumb I might look. But, everybody there knows I'm a beginner. And I think one thing that I try to remember when I'm worried about embarrassing myself, when I'm climbing or working out or doing any kind of physical activity, if you're having fun, that's all that matters. Other people, even people who are incredibly strong, incredibly skilled, have all the technique, they will always be incredibly happy and supportive of a beginner that has a lot of excitement and energy and passion. Even if they're totally screwing it up and not doing a good job, people just love enthusiasm. I'm trying to drop the self-consciousness as much as possible and really leaning into having as much enthusiasm as possible. This is an ongoing journey for me. I'm not successful at this a lot of the time, and I have plenty of room to grow in this area, but that's like the tool that I've been trying to think about a lot when trying something new. And I hope that that is something that you can think about too. If you're someone like me who definitely worries about how you look and how you act and fitting in a gym setting, just know like you're not alone. I think trying hard, not taking yourself too seriously, and being a good sport, like those things will always make people respect you. And I hope that this like encourages you to go try something new. It's always really hard to make that first step, to go into that new part of the gym, to go try that new class for the first time. But after you get over that first time, it's always a lot easier after that. So I hope this encourages you to go try a new class, to go try some other activity you've never tried before, and go into it with enthusiasm, because that's been helping me, and I really hope that it helps you too. If you have any recommendations on how I can learn to get better at Muay Thai, please let me know. Thank you for listening and hanging out with me, and I will talk to you again tomorrow. Goodbye.